Left turn. March. Colors. Halt. Chair, pledge allegiance.
That is.
Present. Colors.
Pledge of allegiance complete.
Order. Colors.
She reads a proclamation, then she reads here in today's colors is a color guard from Centennial High School, Army JRTC, creating the United States flag, blah, blah, blah. And its color guards are Cadet Staff Sergeant Angel Montez and Cadet Second Lieutenant Jeremy McClure. Would like to thank the color guard from JRTC for presenting today's colors.
Right turn. March. Forward. March.
I am now calling this council meeting to order.
March time. March. Left turn. March. Colors. Halt. Present. Colors.
And now I'd like to call Bishop Riggers, who is the representative from the Church of the Latter-day Saints, Alex Marshall, Lincoln Toddy, and Dylan Schwartz. If y'all would come up and lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Forward. Colors.
Y'all may be seated. Whereas in 1921, the unknown soldier was buried on a Virginia hillside in Arlington National Cemetery overlooking the Potomac River in the city of Washington, D.C., the site of this burial in Arlington National Cemetery symbolizes the dignity and reverence of America's veterans, and whereas these memorial gestures took place in England and France on November 11th, giving universal recognition to the celebrated ending of World War I at 11 a.m. on November 11, 1918. And whereas on May 13, 1938, Congress declared that the 11th day of November of each year will be a legal holiday, a day to be dedicated to the cause of world peace, and a day of celebration to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, the love of our country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. And whereas Veterans Day is a day to thank our veterans for their service to our country and acknowledge their contributions to our national security. We would like to honor those who have served and sacrificed for our country today, November 11th, and every day. And whereas the City of Roswell is proud to acknowledge our veterans who are employed by the city, now, therefore, I, Becky Wynn, on behalf of Mayor and Council, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2012 as Veterans Day in the City of Roswell and urge all citizens to recognize the sacrifices and dedication of our veterans today and throughout the year. And I would like to acknowledge who is carrying today's colors is a color guard from the Centennial High School Army ROTC. Carrying the United States flag is the Colored Guard Commander, Cadet Captain Kristen Bally. Carrying the Georgia State flag is Cadet Staff Sergeant Aspen Miller. And the color guards are the color guard is Cadet Staff Sergeant Angel Montez, and another one is Cadet Second Lieutenant Jeremy McClure. Again, I would like to thank them for participating in our ceremony tonight.
Right turn. March. Forward. March.
I need my little baby to come up here. Kayla, come here. I have a very special girl that's going to come up with me tonight. And I'd like to call Bishop Riggers and the congregation to come up, please. I'm going to hand you this. Would you come sit on my lap for me? Come on up here. The reason I'm doing this tonight, this epitomizes what I'm going to be reading today about Family Month. You going to help me read? Okay. This is what we're going to read. Whereas the City of Roswell recognizes the family as the functional unit of society and an essential part of culture, social, and spiritual fabric comprises our communities, and whereas throughout Roswell's history, families have been the foundation of our I just love this girl, of our society and a source of stability and love for every generation. And whereas strong families teach children to live moral lives and help us pass down the values that define a caring society, families provide children with the encouragement, support, and love they need to become confident, compassionate, and successful members of society. And whereas upholding the timeless values that have sustained our social order throughout history will result in the enhancement of the health and security of Roswell's families. And whereas spending more family time together facilitates the development of positive and open relationships between parents and children. These relationships help parents encourage their children to make positive choices. Now, therefore, I, Becky Wynn, on behalf of Mayor and Council, do hereby proclaim November 2012 as Family Month in Roswell and urge all citizens to spend quality time with family members to strengthen relationships between parents and their children. And this, I have a very nice talk with this young lady. She's 3. And I had a very nice conversation with her. And to me, this is what it's all about, is this little girl sitting on my lap right now. This is what it's all about. So, Bishop Riggers, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. We certainly appreciate the proclamation done by the City Council tonight. We've done this now for a number of years. We were trying to think of how many years we've done it, but we've done it for a number of years, and we strongly believe in the family. I think if you look around, we have some great families up here. I'm sure you all have great families. We have many great families that are in attendance. Some may be the traditional family with a mom and dad and kids at home. Some may be single parents. Some may be singles, never married. Some may be grandparents or others in other situations. But we recognize that each of these has a value, and each of these is important in helping our community what it is. I've looked at a few things. As I am a bishop of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and our building is back over here at the roundabout, which is, I guess, there are going to be some other roundabouts coming around, so it won't be long we'll be able to say that. But we're down by the roundabout, and I represent really 3 congregations that comprise the Roswell area. And we are all unanimous in our support of families and in encouraging everyone, whatever their family circumstances, to be a good example and to show love and concern for others. Some successful families that I've seen over the years have some things that they do in common. First of all, they usually eat together 1 meal a day, whether it's breakfast or dinner. Usually with school and work, a lunch is hard to do, but they usually eat once a day and communicate with one another. Others spend time together. In our church, we spend one evening together. It's a Monday evening, so we're happy to be here with you tonight as families. And other people that do that, whether it's another day of the week, they have a chance to spend quality time together. And it's just not quality, but it's the quantity of having it at least that one time. That makes it very successful. The other successful families do what kind of you do as a city council, where you budget, where you plan, where you talk with one another, and you communicate, and it helps the business of the city go, and that's how the business of a family goes as well. And finally, they work a lot together and show unity and love. There's a proverb that says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." I think how we act in our homes is going to be a big influence on how we act with our neighbors, with our business associates, with our interactions with other people. So let's be true to ourselves and true to good moral principles and exhibit that kind of love and concern in our families as well as in the community. Grateful again for the support of the council for this proclamation. Thank you. That we have right here. And just want to acknowledge again the great contributions that the council has made, not just to this proclamation, but to make Roswell a great place to live. My wife and she's here someplace, have raised 3 children here in Roswell from their youth. Through the schools, the Roswell Parks and Recreation Program, through the public servants that we have like you, and through the police and fire and other people we've come in contact with. You've made Roswell a great place to live. And I hope through this proclamation that you'll set an example to strengthen families and make it an even better place to live. Thank you for your time and for this proclamation.
Thank you, Bishop Rickers. And my understanding that you'd like to have a picture with Mayor Pro Tem and Council?
Yes.
We would love to have a picture taken with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to see you again. We met, I think, at the roundabout for vacation.
We did. It's good to see you.
Oh, yes.
I think we should have.
Thank you so much. Good to see you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You all want Boy Scouts? Can you hang for about 5 minutes? Okay. Okay, you want Boy Scouts? Okay, I'm going to go out of order, which is my prerogative. I found out when you're Mayor Pro Tem. Stu Mooring. Stu is a veteran, and I would like all veterans to stand in the audience, if y'all don't mind. Whoever's a veteran, please, we'd like to recognize you. And I have a special, in my heart, special, really, my nephew is in Afghanistan right now. And so my thank you to all of you that has served and are serving. Stu has a special poem that he would like to dedicate for tonight. So, Mr.
Yes,
Moore?
ma'am. Thank you. And I'm joined by our own Colonel Steve Asenbrack, an Army veteran. Personally, I'm a Navy veteran. The poem, I'm sure many of you have heard it before. It's called "It Is the Soldier." And I personally believe that he also meant sailors, Marines, airmen and women, guardsmen and women in the poem. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us the freedom to demonstrate. It is the soldier, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protester to burn the flag. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stu. We really appreciate that. And again, our appreciation to all the veterans in our audience and over the world that has helped preserve our freedom. Is there anything that any of my colleagues would like to add to that? Or we're fine? Okay, great. Then I'm going to move into, and again, I'm changing the order, so are the Boy Scouts having to stay here for the citizenship? Okay. Then I'm going to go to the proclamation for Administration and Finance Week, so I need Michael and Keith and Kay. Well, you're head of it, so get down there. Wasn't for these three, we wouldn't have a city to run. And we were really lucky today. We already had a luncheon to help kind of kick this off. So, this is for Administration and Finance Week. Whereas the week of October 29, 2012 through November 2nd, 2012 will be recognized as Administration and Finance Appreciation Week, and whereas the mission statement for the Administration Department states to provide innovative leadership in administrative, managerial, executive, and judicial functions. The Administrative Department currently operates with 58 employees, and whereas the mission statement for the Finance Department states, provide excellent and accurate service to our customers, financial stewardship for the city's resources, and professional financial services to city departments. The Finance Department currently operates with 23 employees. Now, therefore, I, Becky Wynn, on behalf of Mayor and Council, do here proclaim the week of October 29, 2012 through November 2nd, 2012 as Administration and Finance Appreciation Week in the City of Roswell. I would also like to call upon all of our citizens to recognize the talents and dedication of our employees in these two departments who strive for excellence and to provide the best customer service for our citizens, which you all definitely do. Would you all like to say something? Come on, you're all not shy. Come on.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. As a way of thanking our administration and finance department staff, we have a week of activities. We started off today with a luncheon, and a number of you joined us. We're going to have an ice cream social celebration on Wednesday and wrap it up on Friday with some activities. So it's a way for us to tell our folks how very important they are to us, and certainly Keith and Michael are the ones that make sure that happens every day. I just get to enjoy all the benefits. I do know we have a number of our staff people here. Could we ask them to stand and be recognized?
Yes, please. Everybody that's in administration, finance, thank you all so much.
And Mayor Pro Tem, we do have a couple of them that are hiding back in the back, so we want to make sure they're pointed out. They're actually working tonight, having to keep things running, but we do appreciate all of them for what they do.
Okay, thank you all so very much.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, we appreciate you and the staff of Finance Admin. Say thanks for just acknowledging the work that they do every day. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Keith, Michael. Okay, now I do have an official business. Approval of a Recreation Commission appointment, Angela Parnham.
Move for approval.
I have a motion by Councilmember Orland. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Diamond. Any discussion from the audience? Seeing none, any discussion or comments from council? Seeing none, all in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Now we're going to go into open forum. Anything else? If not, I am going to close the public hearing. We are not finished. Every once in a while, even though it is our open mic night, we do have to do some actually city work, and that's what we have to do. So we have 4 items on the agenda, and I am going to turn over the first one to our Admin and Finance Department Liaison, Councilmember Rich DePolito.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. The first item on the administration agenda is approval of an ordinance to amend the City of Roswell, Georgia Municipal Employee Benefits Services Retirement Plan. This is the second reading. Mr. Roach.
Thank you, Councilmember DiPolito, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, members of Council. This item is a request to modify our current defined benefit pension plan, which was frozen to new entrants effective March the 1st of 2011. The amendment, from our purposes, is strictly to allow the inclusion of severance pay in final earnings that are reported to our pension plan administrators, so that incumbents who leave with severance pay have that factored into their pension benefit. And it requires an ordinance, and I believe the city attorney has that.
So we have to have a second reading?
Yes.
An ordinance to amend and restate the retirement plan for the employees of the City of Roswell, Georgia in accordance with and subject to the terms and conditions set forth in the attached adoption agreement, any addendum to the adoption agreement, the Georgia Municipal Employees Benefit System, master plan document, and the GMEBS trust agreement. When accepted by the authorized officers of the city and GMEBS, the foregoing shall constitute a contract between the city and GMEBS, all as authorized and provided by OCGA Section 47-5-1 et sec. The remainder of the ordinance is incorporated herein by reference.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Councilmember DePolito. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Nancy Diamond. Anyone in the audience would like to comment or have questions on this agenda item? If not, I'm going to close it to public hearing, public comment. Anyone on council? Councilmember Price.
Yeah, I just had a few questions about this. One, do the employees, any employees that left service in Roswell after March 11th, or up until prior to July 2012, are not included in this?
I'm not sure I'm following the question. I'm sorry. We do have some individuals who have separated this year who we've provided pension benefit estimates to that included severance pay, and this action is required in order to allow us to do that. But anybody who is an active member in that plan that was frozen to new entrants March 1st would be covered by this change going forward, including those who separated from employment this year.
I guess maybe I'm not understanding that, but it seems like it's specifically made for anyone after July 1 of this year. Is there no one prior to that time that it affects?
Yeah, the change would be made retroactive to July the 1st. That is correct.
Excuse me, I'm going to let Ms. Love kind of chime in on this one for you.
Councilmember Price, one of the things we had, nothing is changing in the way that we are calculating the final pay or our estimate for retirement benefit. What happened is GMEBS came to us and said that our plan document did not reflect our practice. Therefore, the ones that we had submitted, that July 1 date, with the same calculation as we had been doing previously under the defined benefit plan, because our plan document did not reflect that, they could not process it as submitted. So this change is necessary. Additionally, there are some administrative type changes that the GMEBS board made that they're asking us to adopt in as well. So it's not just this change, it's a myriad of things, but that's what triggered it. That date time frame was not from the city, but from them, our plan administrator.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I know it says that there is no financial impact, and is that the case? I mean, it looks like it affects the final average earnings, and how could that not affect the financial impact to the city?
Well, it wouldn't be city funds, it would be plan funds, and so going forward, because that plan is frozen to new entrants, through attrition, that plan will be dying out anyway. It will affect those individuals' monthly pension benefit. So I guess it would be drawing at a higher rate from the plan funds than it would otherwise, but that's deemed to be a manageable expense.
So the city itself would have no financial liability to fund that plan to its guarantee previously?
No, it's already funded to an amount that would cover the incumbents that are covered in the plan. So there wouldn't be a net change to incorporate these people who are affected by severance agreements. A very small number of folks that typically leave us with severance pay, and that's deemed to be a manageable number of people and a dollar amount within the plan assets.
So this does not affect their final average earnings?
It would affect their final average earnings. The monthly benefit for most would be increased in an amount that corresponds to what their severance pay was. Estimates I've heard are about $40 to $60 a month.
So is this part of the severance agreement that we are now approving? Is that what's happening?
No, again, to Ms. Love's point, we've been doing this in practice in the past without question from GMA and GMEBs. Only recently they brought it to our attention and said we were doing something that wasn't covered in our plan document. Their position being that that's pay that occurs after the person's separation date from our employee. From a practical standpoint, an employee's last paycheck and their vacation payout, PTO payout, comes after their separation date as well.
But usually, in all the research I've done, those are separate entities. A severance pay and those other end of employment pays are dealt with separately. Like one. Well, one's already included in their final average pay, but a severance pay is not to boost the final salary such that the pension ends up being higher. I mean, that's in fact what happens, is that not?
That is correct.
So, and that's been our practice over the years?
It has.
Why cities are going bankrupt. All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, I have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor? That's council members DePolito, Diamond, and Orleans. Opposed? Councilmember Price. It passes 3-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'm going to turn this over to Councilmember Nancy Diamond, Liaison to Community Development.
Thank you, ma'am. This is approval of a resolution establishing fees for zoning, building, and other departments. You may remember this item was deferred from the October 22nd meeting, and Ms. Alice Wakefield is here to tell us about it.
Okay. Yes, this is a request to approve the fee schedule for zoning and permitting and engineering type permits. As was mentioned, it was before you last week on October the 22nd. There were several issues that came up, and so it was deferred. It was related to the time to permit and the cost. And that really centered on the requirement for a plan review check for a single-family home. As was mentioned then, and as I put in my response back to Mayor and Council, that is a standard practice for many of the surrounding cities and many of the cities in this region. It is a practice of our current contractor that conducts the building permit services. We went back and we took a look at that requirement, and while the intent has not been at this time to increase fees, requiring the residential plan check would indeed increase the fee for a residential plan. So what we have now proposing with this approval is to allow for an option that if a contractor for a single-family home submits a plan with a sealed plan, then there will be no fee for the plan, and we'll process the permit. If you submit a unsealed plan, then we will do a plan review, but we'll charge 25% of the permit fee. That still keeps the permit costs in line with kind of what we currently charge, and it also keeps the permit definitely a lot lower than all of the surrounding cities. We are probably one of the lowest cities when it comes to permit fees in the North Fulton region, North Fulton area. The other issue centered around the time to permit, as was mentioned last week. The time to permit for a single-family residential home is from 5 to 7 business days. We try to make it as quick as possible. If you need a grading permit, a land disturbance permit, that process runs concurrently. And to make sure that I was not speaking out of turn, I had the city engineer to go back and pull all of the single-family grading permits for the last year and to come up with the average for permitting. And the average for the grading permit is 6.5 days, which runs in line with the time to do the construction permit. The one thing that we are looking at, and our goal is to reduce that time for both the grading permit and the building permit down to 3 to 5 business days. As we move forward with the ERP process, we move forward with developing checklists, we move forward with encouraging folks to take advantage of our focus meetings where you can meet with all of the staff, not just in community development, but the staff in other departments to review the plans, to determine what is needed. We think we can further reduce the time to a permit. And the other issue that came up was the effective date. I know Councilmember Orleans had wanted to have a 60-day notifications for the various contractors. We had asked that the effective date be December the 10th, which would coincide with the go-live day for the ERP system. But as I had mentioned in my response earlier today, that is a decision that the city administrator and the Tyler consultants would have to make. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Wakefield. Is there any questions for staff? Seeing none, I'm going to open it up to public comment. Anyone in the audience would like to comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion.
Move to approve, please.
I have a motion by Councilmember Diamond. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Rich Depolito. Is there any questions or comments? Councilmember Orleans.
Councilman Diamond, and I just want to clarify that your motion includes the fact that there will be those two options as far as submitting it and having a review and a review fee, or not submitting it, pardon me, the other way around, not submitting the site stamp plan and getting the review and the cost, or submitting it and not having a review and cost. I want to make sure that's included in your motion.
Yes, this was the revised information is in our packet with the revised proposal as the motion.
Yeah, I just got it tonight, so I'm trying to quickly read it. So, and the other thing is the effective date being, my suggestion was at least 60 days to give those contractors that have quotes outstanding time to get them started in permitting, or the ones that are going to be putting quotes out to know what they need to do as far as the fees, because even though our fees are going up a little bit in total there, they do have that additional expense potential of $4,000 to $5,000 for a site plan, which can cut into what they were quoting on.
Okay, I think they need us to approve this by December 10th, or it's going live December 10th?
We're scheduled to go live December 10th.
Now, for those people who have already applied and are already in the system, they stay with the existing fees?
They would stay with the existing fees.
Okay, and I'm not sure how we... Go ahead.
I'm just going to... Are you talking about people that do have existing plans, existing in the works?
I'm saying somebody could have a quote outstanding to somebody to do a home, and they decide next week to accept it, and they come in and find out all of a sudden we've got higher fees. I mean, it takes time for those quotes that they put out there to be cleared out. So that's why my suggestion was 60 days. So I'm not sure if we have to do this to meet the staff's initiatives, or we need to do this to meet our citizens' initiatives.
Okay, I'm going to let Ms. Love answer that, because it does pertain to the ERP and our go live with the ERP. So, Ms. Love.
I think we've built the timeline of training, conversion of data, and populating the necessary fields in the system for us to be able to go live. And the whole permitting is not just the building permits. We're changing the whole processes. So we have been working towards the December 10th deadline. Obviously, if it's the decision of this council, it means we push that back and then to a later date, and we have to come up with some interim method. If it's a day or two, that's one thing. If we're talking about 30 days, a compromise perhaps would be is if you were to approve this tonight, that would give us a 30-day window to notify persons who had pulled building permits in the last year to get, I'm sure, safe built, knowing that we have had contractor meetings. We do know generally who's developing in town, to be able to get that information out. Perhaps that those quotes could be altered, much like a change order when they begin building a house and, the person that they're building the house for makes a change and decides they want something different, a wall moved or something. But it would negatively impact our ability to go live, and training, we'd have to come back in and regroup related to making that change if 60 days is the requirement.
Councilmember
I'm
Diamond.
not comfortable with moving the whole thing, but I guess I would say if there are specific issues that come up in the 30 days to the end of the year, and someone can demonstrate that there's a hardship, and we can certainly address that. Go ahead.
Ms. Wakefield.
What the practice now, because we know it's going to take time for some folks to understand this, and I will say that back in August we had a developers luncheon where they were advised of changes coming down the pipe. If someone walks in, and this is currently happening, and they have they propose to build a single-family home, and they don't have the site plan or a sealed site plan, we will go ahead and process the application, but give them the notification that in the future, when you want to build a home, these are the new requirements. And so it's not that we're turning them away. It's not that if you approve this and someone comes in and they do not have the site plan, that we would turn them away, or they do not have the fee for the site plan review, that we would turn them away. We're still processing their application, more or less in a transition, so that we can get the word out and not cause any undue hardship.
So that we can make that transition, say, till the end of the year?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you be comfortable with that, Mr. Rowley?
Define it for me.
Well, that essentially gives you from now until the end of December to come in and, if you've got a hardship based on a previous estimate that's been done, then it's basically we're starting our computer system, but we're allowing for those that came in the interim. We'll adjust I would assume adjust the entries into the ERP system to...
So is this going to be an automatic appeal? Is it or a variance, or is it going to be an appeal that they've got to go to Alice, or are they going to have to come back to Kay? How will this be handled, other than...
Well, if we say it goes
somebody
to
at the
end of
front desk may not... Excuse me.
We're crossing over each other, so
Excuse me.
Councilmember Orleans, finish your statement, please, for me.
Just, if I don't know what situations could happen, but I'm trying to get an understanding that how we will solve it if it does happen, and who is responsible for it.
If I may, the system is set up such that it allows us to, when we put the fee in, if we have someone who comes in that's in that situation, then the permit tech, knowing that that's a person, the first time they're coming in, they weren't aware of the change. When it comes to calculating the fee, we will zero it out instead of putting in the fee. If there's an issue on that, they can either come to the chief building official or come to me, and we will resolve the problem.
But staff will know through the end of the year to expect some interim change.
Yes, ma'am. We will be sending out additional notices, additional flyers. We will be revising our application to include that. We will also work with the RBA to get the word out to the various businesses.
So the effective date is going to be the December 10th plus the variance period until the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I can put my cell phone number on it if you would like. They can call if they have an appeal.
Sorry?
I said I can put my cell phone number on there and call me with an appeal.
It's okay, I'll put it on there.
Okay, but we do have a process of appeal, and ultimately it will come to you if there's not any type of a resolution with the chief building official.
That's correct.
Okay, or inspector. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much, Ms. Wakefield. I'm going to turn this over to City Attorney, Mr. Halsey.
The next item is an amendment to the existing leases with T-Mobile at the water tank at 9870 Hightower Road and 808 Community Circle, and to reconfigure and modernize the equipment. I was informed by Mr. Mooring that Public Works has reviewed this and has no objections to it now. They were able to work through that, and there appears to be no problem, so I would ask council to approve the amendment proposed.
Thank you. Is anyone from T-Mobile here? Sir, would you like to come and say anything? If you do, please state your name and address for us, please.
Yes, my name is Richard Waddell. I'm from 402 Grove Road in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm a contractor that works for T-Mobile. I do site acquisition. Basically, I've been working with Miss Love in the city on trying to get the documents in her hands, reviewed by the city, and back out, which the end product you see here today. And basically, I'm here to answer any questions and put a face on the proposal. I'm more than happy to answer any questions about what we have planned out on the tanks, and please feel free to ask me any questions. I may not know the answer, but I can get the answer for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Is there any questions or comments from staff, from Councilmember DePolito?
Yes, could you explain the proposal?
Yes, sir. Basically what we're doing, T-Mobile's doing what we call a site optimization or modernization project. What we're doing is we're adding in antennas and electronic equipment that will allow us to broadcast at the 4G LTE. To be able to operate at those specifications, we have to add in some base station equipment. We are also going to be running a hybrid cable line that includes a power feed as well as more or less the coaxial cable signal on there up to the antennas, and installing some new antennas that have the capability of broadcasting LTE.
How many additional antennas are you installing?
There will be no additional antennas. What we're going to be doing is there are currently 9 antennas on each site. What we're going to be doing is taking down 6 of the antennas that are currently up there, swapping them out for new. We will be adding a couple of small amplifiers and diplexer boxes at the top of the tower to help them process their signal, but they're very, very small boxes that basically attach to the back of the mount where the antennas go. So we've also provided structural analysis for the equipment as proposed on the tanks to demonstrate that there is no structural impact of the structures.
Is there a difference in the size of the antenna?
No, sir. There is a small difference. It's negligible. It's just a matter of about 2 inches, I believe, in width. They're typically the same height. I believe in width they're about 2 inches wider, and I think they're actually a little bit less in depth. General surface area, if you do a square footage type calculation on them, they're essentially the same.
And can you tell me about the base equipment? How much additional space do you need for that?
We're not going to be doing any additional ground space. Basically what we're going to be doing is ripping out one of our UMTS cabinets. We currently have 2 out there on the site right now. We'll be taking that out, putting a new LTE cabinet in its place. As well, we'll be putting a COVP cabinet in there as well, which is about 8 inches by 8 inches, and it's basically just a translator box to help all the other boxes down there talk to each other, because we're running multiple technologies and have to get a homogeneous signal out.
So this would provide 4G service for the T-Mobile customers?
Yes, sir, it will.
Does it help non-T-Mobile customers?
Unfortunately, unless they're roaming on T-Mobile, it's really not going to help them. Everybody that's Verizon, Sprint, or the other carriers, they should be feeding their signal off of their own sites. However, if it's in a signal deficient area and they have a roaming agreement with T-Mobile and T-Mobile's signal is stronger, there is a good possibility that their telephone will pull over and pick up the T-Mobile signal. I'm not an RF engineer to explain anything more in depth than that.
You don't need to get any more technical than you've gotten with me so far. That's fun.
Thank you.
One last question. Do you know how many customers this tower services in this area?
No, sir. I could not tell you what the demographics are for each site that are covered. I can tell you that essentially the same footprint that is currently being serviced out there is going to be serviced for the LTE as well.
I was just curious if you knew what that number was.
No, sir. I certainly couldn't tell you. It's beyond my expertise.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Councilmember Orleans?
Actually, my questions are for Mr. Halsey. Mr. Halsey, in reviewing the lease and amendments, have we used this opportunity to review the fees that we're charging, and is it an opportunity to update those? Seems like we've had additional cost in cell towers recently, so I'm just curious.
My understanding is that the current lease is market rate from Mr. Davidson.
Did we look at it?
Yes,
Has there
sir.
been any consideration from council for the fees, or they should change? Because, usually our contracts are pretty long-term, so I guess I would think that we would need to use this opportunity to make sure we've reviewed that.
We reviewed it. The standard with this was just done in 2008 or 2009, and it was $2,500 a month with a 4% increase each year, and that's pretty much in line with what everybody else is getting.
I guess I would think we'd have a discussion on it at committee.
Well, we can do that.
Ms. Love, was this never thought to bring it to committee for that?
There was, when T-Mobile provided it, and we had to go to our tank service provider and get them to look at the plans and the drawings, and there was a request from T-Mobile for us to move this forward. We, staff, brought it forward, knowing that it certainly could be moved back to committee or deferred should you want to do that. Mr. Davidson and I did have a discussion about the fees and whether they were at market rate, but we know fully well when we bring something and it has not gone to committee, or even if it has, then this council reserves the right to send us back to relook at that. So that's certainly something that we can do should the council so desire.
I would like to see us do that.
I'm going to give Councilmember Price his questions, then I'll come back to you, Councilmember Orleans.
Just what is the original term then of the lease? These are just amendments, right? What is the original term and the expiration?
The original lease was in 2000 and went for a 5-year term with 3 one-year renewals, is my recollection, which is how we got to the 2009, and we made the amendment at that time.
So this is just an extension of the original?
This is an amendment to just change out the equipment.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the base lease?
Has nothing to do with the term, no.
So again, when are the terms coming up again?
They normally are for a 5-year period, so it'd be probably 2013, 2014. I'm not positive.
So basically not at this time?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions, or do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to defer it to committee for discussion of the fees.
Yeah, I do have a question on a deferral if council decides to go to deferral. Ms. Love, could we put this on 1113 committee and then have it straight to City Council? If council agrees to bring it forward, could we bring it forward then to 1114?
Yes, ma'am. What we would do logistically would be go ahead and place it on both the committee and council agendas because of those deadlines, and then should you not move it out of committee, then we would not hear that item on the 14th.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have a motion to defer until November 13, 2012. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember DePolito. Do I have any more comments or discussions? Any questions? Do I have any questions, any comments from the public on this agenda item? None? Okay, so we have a motion and a second to defer to the November 13, 2012 committee, and if it is brought out of committee, it will be heard on November 14, 2012 City Council. Okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
One more city attorney's report.
Recommend closure for personnel and acquisition of real estate.
I have a motion, I have a recommendation of a motion by Councilmember DePolito. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Price. All in favor? We are now adjourned and going to closure. Thank you so much for showing up tonight.